Hi guys, so this is a video about some things that you should avoid when buying or selling precious metals, gold, silver. First of all, please do like and subscribe, especially if you found this video useful or if it ended up saving you money, which I hope it will. So it's a bit of a different video to my other ones. Normally I talk about the things I purchased, what's so good about it. This is a video actually about what's bad sometimes about gold and silver. So first of all, one thing you'll notice when it reaches the time that you sell your silver, you will always get people on eBay who make very low offers and are always trying to get the lowest price, which obviously a lot of people do. I mean, when I'm buying, I always say try and buy as near to spot price as possible. Never overpay for your silver. Always look for the ways to get the lowest price. But these are people who really will make an offer that's even below spot price or about half the price coin is worth. They'll try and say to you that it's not worth what you're asking for. And obviously on eBay, you should never accept the first offer that someone gives you. You should either just reject the offer simply, or you are able to, in the settings, automatically reject offers that are below a certain price or make her another offer in return if you're happy doing that. But ideally, you should put a buy it now price or just wait for it to go to auction. Then get a price that's fair for what the item is worth. For example, I know that I would personally never sell one of these Britannias for, say, less than 30 or 31 pounds. That's around $40 in US. So if someone offers me a price that's lower than that, unless I absolutely needed the money at the time, I just would not accept that. So that's another thing. You'll always get these people out there that really want to try and get everything at an unfair price to the buyer. Besides that, eBay is a whole other issue. I'll probably do another video on that. But it happens outside of eBay as well. You'll get people who say that collectors, investors, dealers. I actually had one around my house the other day to value some of my things, and it was obvious he was just trying to look for the lowest price possible. Sometimes what these people do actually is when someone passes away and the relatives are trying to clear out their house, they know that maybe the relative just wants the money as soon as possible or wants to get this sorted, get rid of the items. So they'll offer a price for normally it's a whole load of items, not just one item, but it will be a price that's worth far less than what the item's worth, and you should simply say no. There's no reason why you should sell your product at a price that's lower than what it was worth. If you're unsure, hold on. That's what I would say. Hold on, see if the price goes up, see if you're able to find someone else who's willing to buy it at a higher price, or build your reputation on eBay so you've got positive feedback and people know that you are a reputable seller. That also helps. Then you'll be able to demand higher prices. Now, for those of you who use Facebook, I know a lot of people aren't a fan of social media, and I honestly don't blame you for that. I'm also not a massive fan, but there are a lot of Facebook groups. I haven't really used Facebook Marketplace that much, so I'm not really able to talk much about that, the advantages and disadvantages. I think I've listed some products on there, but I have never actually sold anything or made a transaction on there. I would be very, very, very wary about ever buying anything from someone who, say, for example, sends you a message in Facebook, or they saw your post in a group and they're offering to sell something. This actually happened. Normally, I always ask for references or give references if I'm selling. I give my eBay references, or now I have this YouTube channel, just all other people in the industry as well, just so that they know I'm genuine. All of my items are genuine. I'm not going to take the money and not send the item, just for reassurance. So I would always ask for references if you're buying from someone you don't know. And this is actually an experience that happened to me recently, around about a month ago. And yeah, everything seemed fine. But in situations when now you're able to reflect on it, it's like the signs were there that something wasn't right. What happened with this guy? We agreed to pay by PayPal, and that's another thing I would say: never do friends and family with PayPal. Um, just don't do it unless you genuinely are sending money to a friend or a family member. Obviously, that's different. That's what it's there for. A lot of people do ask you to do that because there's no fees. But again, I would argue that I'd rather pay a few dollars more and have the protection there. Another thing I would suggest as well is either link your PayPal to a credit card or just use credits. I know Amex are really good if you ever do dispute a transaction. It just gives you that little bit more protection. And then the other person having access to your debit, which should be linked to your bank. So I hardly ever actually use my debit card unless I'm doing an ATM withdrawal. Then all my purchases do go on the credit so that I get that more protection and don't need to pay it instantly if there is a problem. So this coin is actually a really low mintage one. You see the number here is 46. I don't remember the total, how many there are out there, but I know it is really limited mintage. And I actually have the 1 ounce versions of these as well, the Roaring Lion. And yeah, they're really good. They're not as famous as, say, the Britannias or the Liberty Eagles, but they're well recognized by silver collectors, investors, what have you, all over the world. What actually happened was they asked me to send money, and we were like confirming, is that the right username? And he said yes. And then he said, just after I sent it, he said, oh, actually, that's my email address. So it was the same person, or the same name, but 2 different people. And I have my suspicions that they are actually one and the same person. Then after he realized I sent it to the wrong guy, he said, oh no, I really need some money for this. I said no. Until I get it refunded, I sent the email to the original guy asking if it's saying that it's a mistake. Here's someone with the same name as you. Would you please just return the money, which is what I would do. Not many people have the same name and surname as me, but it happens if you have a name like John Smith, for example. That's not his name. I'm just using that as an example. And yeah, so that's my suspicion. It was one and the same, and he wanted paying twice, effectively, because he sold me this at a fair amount lower than what it's worth or what it's listed at on other stores. And I just never got a reply from the original person I sent the money to. PayPal wouldn't help me. And online scams generally are on the rise as well. Those are my suspicions that it was one and the same person. Obviously, I didn't send the money twice. I just held my ground and said no until I get it refunded from either the other person or PayPal or my credit card. Then no, I'm not going to do that. And obviously, he was unhappy about that, and I ended up blocking him on Facebook. So the other thing is, although it did arrive, I wasn't even sure if it did arrive. He sent a prepayment envelope back. So why would, if you're selling someone something, why would you send a prepaid envelope back unless you're expecting them to return it? So either he wanted paying twice or to get the money and still hold on to this. So that was when really alarm bells started ringing in my head that this is not legitimate. All those things together, like the lower price, sending the return envelope, and also why would you not make sure the username was right if someone's sending you money? Like, so yeah, and you can see that it's definitely not as described. I mean, it's hard to see on Zoom, but you can see the imperfections there pretty easily actually, and along the sides especially. So like, and a buyer would not pay the full price for this, I don't think. In fact, there's no way they would. They'll see all the marks, imperfections along the side. They just wouldn't be interested. It still has the silver value, so you'd get the spot price. So at 5 ounces, that's around $130. But you'd get no way that what you should get for something like this. So that's just another buyer beware situation when you buy and sell. just only use official platforms. Get advice from someone else in the industry if you're unsure. I'm always happy to answer questions that anyone sends me about any of my products. And if you're buying, then the person you're buying from should also be more than happy. And they shouldn't be pressurizing you into anything at all. It just shouldn't happen. Like, so yeah, it's very much buyer beware, especially if you're using these other platforms out there that don't give you the same level of protection as you would with, say, something that's more established, a registered business in the country or state that they registered in. They have a head office, a phone number that someone actually answers the phone during office hours at least. These are things that you really should be looking for when you're purchasing. And obviously, if it's a 1 ounce silver proof MS70, it should have the number so that you're able to go on the NGC website and verify that. I do have another video that explains this if anyone's unsure. I know if you're an experienced investor, you'll probably know that. But if you're new and starting out, it just helps to check that something is genuine. And if you do purchase on eBay and something like this arrives that's not as the buyer described, then you are able to just say item not as described and dispute it with eBay. So that's all for now. There are other things you need to watch out for, but they would be far too long to put in a short video. I might do a longer video about that. Depends if people want to know or not. Just send me a message or comment below if you'd like me to do a video on that. You can send me a message on my website, buysilvergold.org, and see all the products, see where they're registered at. Ask me any questions that you want as well. And also subscribe to the newsletter. You get advice like this, different articles, tips, and products at great prices every Thursday before the general public get them on a Friday. So do you have a look? That is free to subscribe. So even if you don't purchase anything, you haven't lost anything by signing up. And I'll be back soon with another video, but have a great day. See you soon.